guarding man-to-man, but there were times I had to get him man-to-man. And
your favorite team that you guys love to face in your division?
Yours.
Yes, sir.
Like the games like we play against the Raiders, you might get 3 sacks. When they had Jamarcus Russell, which I did. So I got 3 sacks on them. I got 3 sacks on them in the first half, right?
Yeah.
And I'm ready, and they take Tommy Maddox.
What is going on, everyone? Happy Friday night. We finally made it to Friday. We are recording live here in the JBW Solutions Studios. I got the guys, Matt and Austin, with me. Cody and Caleb out tonight, work obligations. They will be back this weekend for our pregame show. So we want to start off with our normal sponsor shout-outs. So Troy and his guys at Field Out Kansas, get your field markings done. Angie and her team, Emporia State Federal Credit Union, the Showbook's banking of choice, as well as the War Room's banking of choice. And then the granddaddy of them all, JBW Solutions. Again, thank you to Jeff and his team. Again, they sponsor the studio. This is the JBW Solutions Studios. Guys, Friday night episodes, always fun, jam-packed. We have a very special guest with us here tonight. He is a very big Eagles fan. He is the South Florida Tribune. And we're going to go ahead and bring Steve on here. Everyone give Steve a big round of applause. Steve, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, guys. It's always great, being able to hop on, different platforms, different podcasts, talk some ball, get everyone's different point of views. Listen, we're a giant football family when it comes to the NFL, and as much as the sport itself has grown internationally, you run into all kinds of different people from all different walks of life. So always love collabing with people and getting to pick everyone's minds a little bit.
Yeah, it's great because with us, we're kind of all across. So Caleb's our Chargers fan. He's a representative there. He's in Knoxville, Tennessee. We're in St. Louis. And then Matt here and Cody are in California. So, again, we cover all time zones here. So, we're ready.
Worldwide.
Prestige worldwide. That's right. So, Matty, get us going here. We're going to start off with the segments. We're going to talk about the state of the Eagles.
Absolutely. Again, Steve, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been a roller coaster of a season, not just for, the Broncos and the Chiefs, but for your Eagles as well. It's been an up and down season. So how would you describe the Eagles season so far?
You said it, brother. Roller coaster. It's had its ups, it's had its hard downs over the last few weeks. I mean, I already knew it was going to be a hard schedule coming into the year. Obviously, Super Bowl champions, defeating the Kansas City Chiefs in that manner, and then you mix that up with arguably, I think that when the schedules came out, they said it was probably the hardest schedule a defending Super Bowl champ has ever had to come across. You don't have any back-to-back home games at all. The gauntlet you had at beginning of the season, the tough road we've just had to basically endure after our bye week as well was another tough stretch that we had to go through. Didn't do too well with the post bye stretch compared to the beginning stretch of the season. So, but I mean, we got the wins where in the most part where it matters. Outside of the Bears loss, I mean, obviously, losing a 21-point lead to the Dallas Cowboys, your arch rival, is a tough pill to swallow. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Like sometimes, as my coach Ben was sitting there saying, sometimes it's not how you lose, it's who you lose to. And that one was a tough one. The Bears, I mean, I was high on the Bears coming into the season. I felt the fact that they completely revamped their offensive line, that they were going to be a problem to deal with. I was absolutely right because they bullied us all up and down Lincoln Financial Field last Friday. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But I mean, you're 8-3. You control your own destiny. I mean, obviously, it's going to be a tough climb to get back into that 1 seed. But if you're anywhere from a 2 to 3 seed, having that hard schedule, no back-to-back home games. I mean, you have more back-to-back road games, and then the scheduling that you get. I mean, obviously over the last 4 or 5 weeks, you get the Chargers, you get the Raiders, you get you get the Bills, and then you get 2 games with the beat up Commanders right now. So I mean, if we win three out of the last 5, we win the division. We control our own destiny at this point in time, and regardless of how bad it's been via offense, defense, whatever, inconsistencies with this, controlling your own destiny and very well still could be either anywhere from the 3 to 2 seed is something. We were the 2 seed last year. We weren't the 1 seed last year, so it's not something I think is completely horrible. But I mean, obviously, you would have to be a blind man to say that there are some things that need to be corrected.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the state of the NFL this year. Like everyone just kind of the moment you kind of hop on a team, they kind of show some flaws or take a little spin. So I think that fits the nature of the season. But on to our next question. We know one of the people, honestly, for any team, but specifically for the Eagles, one of the people you hear most about is the quarterback. So I'm curious, just what's the overall feeling towards Jalen Hurts from Eagles fans and around the Eagles team? Because, outsiders think that, the team carries him. His stats look pretty good. The team is really good. But what's the overall vibe around Jalen Hurts in that fan base?
I think the most hates don't come from the fans. I mean, I've seen a couple ridiculous posts. We need to start McKee in there. Like, listen, you ride with your guy no matter what. I mean, the most of the nonsense I'm hearing is from pundits, from media, even in our own city. Just had Spike Eskin from WIP refer to him as like Ben Simmons mentally. I'm like, what?
Wow.
I'm like that's a
reach.
Right there. That is total bait. Because in my mind, like mentally, you can't even put him in the same category.
No.
Ben Simmons, basically is one of our biggest flops as far as a top 5 pick in any sport.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts is a second round pick that everyone has been doubted on. He's over. Everyone says his contract is. He's been getting paid less than Dak Prescott and all these other guys the last few years. Basically, our 3 skill position players still isn't as much as Dak Prescott. His contract. We have AJ Brown, I think, and Saquon Barkley's and Jalen Hurts' contract, and it's still, I think it's $2 million short of what Dak Prescott's getting. So you can't tell me he's overpaid, because you could sit there and nitpick at things, and we do this with all of our quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts isn't immune to it, but like, I think he does the other thing best. He's not a me guy. He doesn't have to have his stats. He finds a way to win, no matter how ugly it is at times or how pretty it looks at times. We've seen both sides of it. We've seen him win playoff games with barely throwing 200 yards, but he does the other things well. I think the thing that no one really wants to talk about this season, what the real crux of the issue is, it's the offensive line, man. Mm-hmm. You can sit there and say, well, we have what is considered one of the best offensive line, but they've been banged up, they've been hurt, they haven't played to the level they did last year. And the other side of that is he is not running the ball as much through the RPOs. I think that's one of the things that I think should absolutely be implemented over these next 5 weeks, is bring the RPO back. Because I think that's where he was the most deadly against defenses, where he could put it in Saquon's gut, and if there's something he could see, pull it back and bounce it outside, and that's where he would kill defenses. Mm-hmm. Everyone would be loading inside, and he'd bounce it outside. I'm not sitting there saying he's got Lamar Jackson speed, and he's this type of runner. He gets you at the worst possible times. 9 times out of 10 last year, when he would hurt teams, it'd be like a 3rd and 5. They're loading the box up to stop a run, and he'd bounce it outside and gut you for 15, 20 yards. That's where he killed you last year, and you haven't seen that this year. I don't know. There's been rumors running around the city this week that he's been calling for less runs on him. Maybe he doesn't want to get injured like he's gotten the last handful of years, concussions, shoulder injuries, whatever, when he's called those runs. I don't know if that. Listen, we're all going to be hard on our quarterbacks. He is the focal point, regardless if we're talking Jalen Hurts, whether we're talking Patty Mahomes, whether we're talking Josh Allen, etc. No quarterback is exempt to it, but he does the other things so well, you can't overlook it. You can't.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do, at least me personally, seeing other Eagles, people on social media is just talking about the offensive coordinator, and what he's putting them in. So, with that, what do you think about the current struggles with the Eagles? Is it said coordinator? Is it a coaching issue, or do you think it's a little deeper than that?
I think it's all of it. Honestly. I think it's an execution issue with all of them. Look at where we are right now. All right, the thing I think that kills them the most is the pre-snap penalties.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, you've seen it multiple times that you'd have a thing where Saquon breaks off a 15-yarder and it gets pulled back. And then a few times we've been called for false starts, and our lineman hasn't even moved. He turned his head and flagged. Like, what? How's that a false start?
Yeah.
Now that turn your head. The pre-snap penalties are killing them. Do I think the offensive design needs much to be desired? Absolutely, I agree with that. It's Nick Sirianni's offense. Let's be honest with you, and we've seen what Nick Sirianni's offense has been in 2022. You seen the guy over there that's coaching the Indianapolis Colts. He turned it around, right? When they took the play calling ability away from Nick Sirianni in 2023, we seen what happened with Brian Johnson, right? Started off 10-1 and just took a hard nosedive.
Yeah.
You're looking at some of the passing concepts, and they're on top of each other. You're having guys running into each other. Like, there's like so many different things. I think it's execution. I think the offensive line play isn't up to where it is. And I think that the play call design is absolutely horrendous. That you see better play calls on freaking on Madden football than you see coming off of our sideline. And I'm with you guys. I'm trying to laugh it off over here too. But listen, anything short of a deep playoff run, Nick Sirianni better watch out, because it's his offense. I don't care what anyone says. It may be Kevin Patullo calling it. Kevin Patullo was the passing game manager the last handful of years here in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. So they know what works, but I think, you could sit there and say that, I think the other thing about Jalen that you're hearing is that him and 11 go rogue sometimes. I haven't seen that too much this season, outside of the last play in one of these games where AJ just wasn't really getting the ball. They're trying to close it out, and they go for a deep shot for absolutely no reason. Outside of that, I haven't seen it, but I'm not on the sideline. I'm not in the locker room. I can't tell you if that's what's going on. I know one thing, that the media is absolutely trying to tear down AJ Brown, and that's not what's going on, because you talk to their teammates and they tell you how much of a stand-up guy he is. There's a lot of blame to go around. You still got 5 weeks to fix it. You control your own destiny. You could very well win your division and/or a potential bye in the first round of playoffs. With all of that going wrong, says a lot about the team.
Yep. It really does, honestly. I think we've been hearing the AJ Brown slander for about 2 years now.
It's beyond me. Like that, the reporter from The Athletic. Diana, whatever her name is, just like she's been living on this, her sources, and then the next week she's telling you she's reading tea leaves off of his Instagram post. Like, listen, AJ Brown is like any receiver, man. Any receiver in the 21st century. They want to win, but they also want to get off and be a part of the offense. I don't think that what he's been doing, what he's been asking for, isn't out of control or crazy, but I think how it's been going about is kind of his biggest problem. And in the reality, you got to remember he has trust issues. He's had trust issues since he was a kid. Doesn't just go away overnight. He has mental health issues, and we all do to that aspect. To that point, we just all deal with it in different ways. this is how he deals with it. May not be the healthiest way, it may not be the right way, but doesn't necessarily mean that it's coming from a bad place or he's necessarily wrong with what he's saying. I just think how it's being portrayed to everyone is kind of the real crux of the issue.
Yeah, we know how things can go with any media, but sometimes in like the New York media, the Philly media, it can be a different animal. So that makes sense. But kind of to the overall offense and defense for the Eagles, what would you still consider a strength and or a weakness on the Eagles that they can kind of lean on to kind of right the ship right now?
Well, I mean, offense. Listen, you got three of the best skilled position players at wide receiver and running back. Hopefully, you can hope the offensive line kind of figures out how to get back to that form that they were in 2024. But defense, I mean, you got one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL inside of 2 years. Quinyon Mitchell is, he is Guantanamo Bay for a reason. Mm-hmm. You go look at his numbers, even through the last 2 weeks. No one's getting balls off of him. He didn't give up a touchdown till late in the season last year as well. He still hasn't given up a touchdown this season. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of cornerbacks can do that. Like, listen, you all get burned at some point in time, whether you get schemed into it or whatever. You get a 50-50 ball and the guy gets one over you. It's going to happen at some point. But the fact that I don't even think there's been a 100-yard receiver against him this season. That's really hard to do in this passing heavy NFL that we live in right now. So, I mean, the linebacker core has been up and down, injuries. We're switching out from Jahil Campbell to having Nakobe Dean back in there. I think Bond's banged up right now. So, but the defensive line, you just seen what got announced 2 days ago. Jalen Carter's been playing half the season with two bad shoulders. So, that's probably why he hasn't been a monster like he's been lately. I said it about 5 weeks ago. I think he has a shoulder injury. So, I've been watching him after some of these plays. How he's sitting there going, I'm like, he's got a shoulder injury. He's playing through this. He's a freaking nutcase. And I really wish he probably would have addressed this sooner, because then you'd have gotten your surgeries and you'd figure it out. And now we got to pray and hope that he's in there for the playoff run. I assume that's why he's doing it now, thinking that he has the next 5 to 6 weeks to heal up for it. But Jordan Davis has been a pleasure this year. A lot of people were hard on him over the last few years. Not many times you get a defensive tackle get both special teams player of the week and defensive player of the week. In that Lions game, in the obviously we all know what the special teams was against the Rams. So they have some bright spots on it, but they also disappear for games too. So I mean, the strength, and if you're asking me the strength of defense, secondary, you do have a lot of guys at linebacker, but the defensive line has been up, it's been down. You've been missing pass, missing some of that pass rush. When you lose a Josh Sweat, he's got 11 sacks right now. I'm sure the Eagles to have a defensive tackle or defensive end with 11 sacks right now. I like the Jalen Phillips trade. He had a concussion last week, so you got to see how he does with that. But the first few games back, he was absolutely on top of it, thinking that may be a long-term fix there. Obviously, you lose Nolan Smith for half the season. Has another arm issue. Got to worry about the injury-prone issue there. But he's a dog when he's healthy and he gets after it. So, I mean, all these things that I'm saying that are wrong with what's going on with the same thing with the offense. It's stuff that can be fixed.
Yeah.
So it's not like you don't have the guys there. And it sucks losing Andrew Mukumba for the year. He was looking really good after his first few weeks, and it was kind of like the same situation last year that we had when Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean got in, plugged them in there. They did great. They played well above a rookie expectations, and I thought that's what Mukumba was doing before the injury. Obviously, when you lose Reed Blankenship for a game and you have to have Sidney Brennan there, and he literally was the reason why Mukumba broke his ankle.
Yep. Rolled up on it.
Yeah, just it wasn't like anything on purpose. Just like he's playing reckless like he normally does, and you don't want him to not be him, and it just happens. It sucked that Makumba's going to miss the rest of the year. Makes me wonder if a former Denver Bronco, Justin Simmons won't wind up back over here.
We thought he was going to end up there in the offseason, and Matt, I'll let you kind of dive into a little bit more of that because you had some discussions about that before the season started.
I think if Epstein doesn't play well at any point in time over the next few weeks, I would not be surprised to Vic to give him a call and ask him like, "Yo, Justin, you in football shape, brother?"
Well, recently he was on the Keith Adams show, and they were and he said he wanted to be on the Texans.
Texans are right back in it now.
Yep.
They sure, yeah, and they have a very stingy secondary, especially led by Derek Stingley. But kind of moving on with it, you did talk about Mitchell there. He hasn't given up a touch, and nor a receiver have 100 yards on him yet. But is there any other player or position group on the Eagles that has surprised you the most?
I mean, the offensive line playing as bad as they have. If you would have told me that, after that Super Bowl that missing just Mekhi Becton and having a few injuries, this offensive line would have been playing this bad, this deep into the season, I'd have laughed at you. I'd have laughed at you to ask you what you smoking, because I mean they were mauling people, and I know Landon Dickerson's been plugged with injuries both off season and in season. Our center, I still don't think his back is right. So, I hopefully Cam get that figured out. I don't think Steen has been entirely terrible, but I mean, he's a huge drop off from what we were getting out of Mekhi Becton.
Yeah.
And we'll get into Becton in a minute as we're going to get ready to go into the Chargers talk, because they haven't been using him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's been banged up. And then
he was banged up here last year too, and he was still producing, banged up and all.
Yeah, it's been a strange one with him on the Chargers, that's for sure.
It really has.
Yeah,
so kind of, as you had mentioned,
that offensive line's been probably the biggest surprise of me, just how they haven't performed this year. Regardless, like I said, injuries or not, like I wouldn't have guessed it. You couldn't have made me sit there and believe this offense would have been this bad. And I think the combination of Steen and Dickerson has given up, like, I think they're like fifth and ninth in most pressures given up this season. It's rough.
And it seems like every time I've obviously I watch a lot of the Eagles games because they're obviously on the national stage quite a bit, and it always seems like Lane Johnson's always trying to tough through something. So that kind of takes us into
that dude's an animal. I've been sitting there saying it for 5 years, and I keep getting told Panay Sewell's is this great offensive tackle. I just seen him getting spun like a top over the last 3 weeks, giving up terrible inside pressure sacks. You don't see that against Lane Johnson. Anytime Lane Johnson step on the field, injured or not, whoever he's going against, they don't do nothing. They don't make big plays. They don't make impact plays. And he doesn't get called for a whole lot of penalties. So I think I talked about it a few weeks ago. They are, I think now 11 games under 500 when he is not in the lineup.
Yep.
You can't talk your way out of that. And yeah, he's just one guy on a 53 main roster, but he's been the best tackle in football over the last 5 years, and no one can tell me otherwise.
Well, the team you're getting ready to face has been missing their tackles obviously all season. So I mean, with what the Chargers have been doing. So I mean, when you look at this matchup, this is a big game for both teams, right? Eagles trying to stay in position to win the division. The Chargers are still fighting to possibly get in that wild card spot with their decimated offensive line as well. So what are you looking forward to most in this matchup?
Man, I mean, you got to wonder how healthy your quarterback is if you're the Chargers. Obviously, he's been practicing. He has the cast on his hand. Like, listen, that's all well and good when you're doing practice, right?
Exactly.
We all know it's a totally different animal when you get into the game time, and somebody gets their helmet on that hand, or he follows through on a throw and hits it off a helmet. It ain't going to be a fun day for him. And, being the fact that they've been embarrassed the last 2 weeks with the letdown in Dallas and, getting brutalized in front of your home crowd on Black Friday, they going to be hungry and they going to want to make an example out of somebody. Now, obviously, each of our next 2 games are against the AFC West, being the Chargers and the Raiders. So,
at least you got the Raiders coming.
What was that?
At least you got the Raiders.
Yeah, at least the Raiders are coming.
That's
So
the game. That's the game. I think they can really get that offensive right, get them humming.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, listen. When you have a banged up offensive line, which we know all about, and then your quarterback's banged up as well. Listen, I don't think it's going to be like an easy game for anybody. I think it'll still be, a 7 to 9 point game, whichever way it goes. But I think that the Eagles have that moxie that we've seen them with over the last few years, where they just find ways to win games, find ways to get the ball in the end zone, which they haven't shown a whole lot of this year. Being all the talk that's going around, Jalen's the problem, the offensive coordinator, Nick Foles had said something about it 2 weeks ago, just, getting everybody in a room and just figuring this out. I guarantee you they've gotten in a room and they're going to find, 15, 30 plays that they feel is going to help them over the next, 2 months or so to push them into a potential, playing that first game in February. They're in I think that they're in the toughest NFC that we've seen in 10 years. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest. It is deep. There are young teams. There are hungry teams. There are teams that are looking to prove themselves. I think that the Rams will be a serious team, not just this year, but next year as well, being the fact that they have a freaking top 10 pick because how stupid the Atlanta Falcons are right now.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing that just makes them even more dangerous. So whatever they're going to need come this offseason, they're going to be able to address either in free agency or with that top pick they have in the draft. So I think the Rams are in a good position. I think it's gonna be really interesting. But this matchup, you want me to put a number on it? I think it's going to be 27 to 17 type game, something like that. It can go either way, because I think the Chargers need this worse than we do right now. After the debacle with Dallas last night, they got a 9% chance of making the playoffs, and they have no chance of making a wild card now, none. Right? So they have to pray for our downfall. It might happen, but I don't see it. When you got to play the Commanders twice. You still got the Raiders on the schedule, and you have a banged up, Chargers team in front of you who has despite the fact that, they are very talented, they've played down the competition a lot of times. And as bad as we're playing, I have a feeling they're going to play down to us, and we're going to take advantage of that. Again, don't think it's going to be a crazy blowout. I don't think it's going to be a shootout or anything like that. I wouldn't even be surprised if it's less than what I said, and we see a defensive slugfest that we've seen out of this Eagles team throughout the season. But I do think we're going to have a multiple touchdown game out of Jalen Hurts. The one I really want to see going, I don't know when it's going to happen, is Saquon Barkley. From what I've been hearing, he's been the ultimate cheerleader. He's holding the umbrella in the rain type of teammate, despite the fact that he's not getting off this year. When anyone's been blaming everything, he will not blame the offensive lineman. He's blaming himself. And I think that's another reason why, everyone wants to talk about, the Saquon move, before he blew off last year, that it was stupid. The leadership thing on top of the production thing, I think, is more important. The quality character of a person sometimes is the more important free agent move than the production you're going to get out of them. If they can contribute to more than just what happens on the field, it makes them invaluable. And I think of right now, like despite that, everyone's down on him. I watch out, because the fact that he hasn't really gotten a chance to get off all season, if he's manages to figure it out and put it together the last few months, we thought last year was going to be crazy. Where do you see what he's going to do in January if he's able to figure it out? Because it's going to be scary.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so for the matchup this week, offensively, what do you want to see from the Eagles to kind of take a step towards progress?
I really want to get that running game. I really do want to get that running game going. I just don't feel like this is the week. I feel like next week's the week that we're going to see Saquon go off. But I think this is a Jalen game. I think everyone's been talking about Jalen. And every time everyone tells this man he can't do something, what does he do? He goes out the next week and he's like, I think we've seen the soundbite last year. Is that what y'all wanted to see? I think we're going to get one of those games out of Jalen Hurts this week, especially because, during the offseason, I kept seeing these quarterback rankings, and Justin Herbert wound up finding his name in front of Jalen Hurts. So I think it's one of those things. It's not just the fact that people are telling him that he can't, that this is one of the guys that everyone kept telling him he's better than. So we're going to see what happens, but Jalen always answers the bell, and I think this is one of the ones where he's going to answer the bell. You're going to get a multiple touchdown game. Maybe one on the ground, two through the air. We'll see.
Right on.
So who are your X factors for the Eagles? As far as the Eagles go for this upcoming game on Monday night, who are your X factors?
I need a big game out of Nakobe Dean. I need a big game out of him. I need him to do what he's been doing each of the games he's been back there, being around the line of scrimmage, getting after the quarterback, disrupting the offensive line like he has been. But I needed that in Nakobe Dean. I mean, I think we already know that our pass rushing isn't what has been over the last few years, and obviously, like I've already talked about, you lose a guy like Josh Sweat. Brandon Graham is here, he's not here, whatever. But, you got to think about it. You lost Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox, each of the last few years. Not an easy thing to replace.
No.
Not in the leadership side of things and regardless of the production side of it. So, you couple that with losing Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, things like that, like it hurts. I need it from Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean is, I know a lot of people think that, normally your safety is kind of your leader on the defense. Nakobe Dean's the heart and soul of that defense. If he's not making plays, they're not having a good game. So, in my opinion, I need that Madden X factor out of Nakobe this week.
Absolutely. So we're going to kind of flip your point of view real quick and get your take on who the X factor for the Chargers is this week. Who for the Chargers, if they have a good or dominant game, can really
it has to be Justin Herbert. It has to be Justin Herbert. He's one. Listen, they win or lose off of his back. We were just talking about the quarterbacks. We've been talking about the quarterback. A good portion of this episode. He is the identity of that team. Win, lose, or draw. If he's having a ball in that game, 9 times out of 10 they're winning it.
Yeah.
They've lost a lot of people on defense over the last few years, so I wouldn't even be able to tell you who would be an X factor on their defense. He is the face of that organization right now, and this is one of the I just said Jalen's about to have one of those games. If they want to have a fun Sunday, a fun Monday night football game, it's going to be number 10 throwing them to a win.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then. Yeah, Maddie, you're up.
So, kind of going into the lightning round here a little bit. And I know you kind of mentioned Justin Simmons. I know he's no longer in the AFC West, but is there a particular player that you would want on your team?
Absolutely.
From the AFC West?
Absolutely. Give me Max Crosby right now. I need an edge rusher. Are you kidding me?
The anticipation, man. We're like,
well, listen. You put Max Crosby on that defense right now. He's going to be a kid in the candy store. I mean, obviously, losing Jalen Carter, for the next few weeks with shoulder surgery. You still got Maro Mojo, who, according to PPF, has one of the best pressure win rates in the NFL. I think he's like within the top 10 there. Jordan Davis is having a killer year. You add somebody like a Max Crosby to that defensive end rotation, and holy crap, Brandon Graham's going to be sitting on the sideline popping popcorn, watching Max Crosby chase quarterbacks the rest of the game. And he ain't going like, I don't need no snaps today, coach. I'm watching the show Max is putting on. Because, come on, let's be real. The big weakness that we have right now here in Philadelphia is the inability to consistently get after the quarterback, right? You put Max Crosby on that defense, what do you think is going to happen? That's going to be as my co-hosts like to say, that's cheating right there. I'm not even watching the game. That's cheating.
I was curious if you were going to pick an offensive lineman, though, just given the struggle.
Yeah, right.
I was curious.
I'd love to bring Mekhi Becton in. I really would. I think it's only a matter of time, considering what's going on there in San Diego, before he's cut and he's just made available to us.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So, granted, I know everyone's talking about, you don't really have cornerback number 2. That hasn't really hurt us at all this year. It hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
There's games where we lost and guys got off, but that's not the reason they lost those games, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Dallas game, if you don't have those 2 inexplicable turnovers and not scoring in the second half, you win that game, right? The Bears game is the Bears game. You every once in a while your defense is just going to have a bad day. They getting 255 on the ground. It's a rough one to overcome, but I don't think just for putting a lineman in there is going to help that offensive line. They need to get that right. You have Jeff Stoutland, who's been coined here as Stoutland University. How many offensive linemen, all Pro Bowl type levels, has come through here? Not even just come through here, that has come and played here, going on to other teams to be Pro Bowlers on them teams too. So it's I think it's just a matter of time of them getting it right. Of course, I would love to just pick a lineman in there, but I think knowing that you need pass rushers and defense wins championships in this day and age, offense is going to figure it out at some point in time. You can't supplement a guy that can get after the quarterback and put the quarterback on the ground. You can't. And Max Crosby is one of the elite pass rushers that we have in the NFL inside of your division there. I could sit there and go another way. Let's go. Give me Chris Jones. I don't need Chris Jones right now. No, I don't think he's going to be an X factor for this team right now. Max, on the other hand, it would suck eating that contract. It's probably the only thing that would hurt us.
Yeah,
worth it.
Yeah.
So
the fact that Jerry Jones put a poison pill in the Packers trade because he knew we'd offered 2 first-round draft picks to try to go get him, and that didn't happen. He didn't want him in the division, and I don't blame Jerry for that. But I think it's telling, knowing that what Howie was willing to give up to bring Micah to Philadelphia. He's got 12 sacks right now.
Yep.
So we could sit there and say whatever you want. Dallas might be better off. I think when everything's said and done, of course, Dallas is going to come out on the other end. As long as they use those picks in the proper way, I think they'd be all right. They already got Quinn Williams, and they're running almost like a 5-man line that looked pretty good when they played us. So it's they're going to eventually figure it out there in Dallas. But this ain't one of them years. But yeah. Max Crosby is easily my go-to when it comes to that discussion.
And I'll be the first to admit that I did say that the Cowboys were creeping in quick. So I want an honest answer of, was there ever a moment the last few weeks that you were worried that the Cowboys may actually catch you guys?
Absolutely not. Dallas is going to listen. This is the time of the year. It's like Cinderella when she's running home and the carriage turns back into a pumpkin. That's what the Dallas Cowboys do every year for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
I will start getting worried when they can show me they can win in January. They can't. They haven't. at this point in time, Jalen Hurts has more postseason wins than Dak Prescott does, right? Dak has been in the league almost half, almost 10 years now. Jalen's only been here for 5.
Yeah.
Like, come on. And it's not a knock. I think if you put Dak Prescott on another team, he wins a Super Bowl.
Ooh.
He does. I think I really like. Listen, I'm hard on Dak. I make fun of him because he's our direct rival. I get it, but you cannot talk away. Like this year, he would probably had him just outside of the top 10 rankings. We're ranking quarterbacks, right? You telling me we're looking at it right now? We're doing a rankings list. Can't tell me he's not put. We don't have that man in the top 5.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you put him on another team right now, he has them winning their division and possibly looking for a first round bye, because that's how well he's come back this year after his injury. I think we're in a real discussion, early talk. He should be comeback player of the year.
And I can't speak for Matt.
Like, listen, this is what Dallas does every year. They do really well the first few months, and then the first month and a half, and then the middle of the season, they either fall. They even have some problems, injuries, and they don't win as much. And then they have this spurt right around this time of year where they want to win it. Oh, they're in position. They could do some things. And then what happened last night?
Exactly.
And the other thing about it, all right, though, in that 3-game winning streak, right? Let's just talk about the Eagles game and the Chiefs game. They had 24 penalties. 24 go in their favor. Listen, I'm not sitting there saying, it's fixed, but the NFL makes more money when the Dallas Cowboys are somewhat relevant. Can't tell me that's not what's going on right here.
Except for the Chiefs.
I'm not surprised.
We're one of the most penalized teams. Get out of here.
Was that?
We're one of the most penalized teams. Get out of here that it goes our way.
Listen, we had 14 against us in that Dallas game. 14.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's a hard thing to overcome. And I've already said it. It's one of the things, like, if they clean up the penalties, I think they'd be in a better position for a lot of this stuff. We're talking about, I think one of the main things that hurt us in the Black Friday game was the time of possession really killed us.
Yeah.
So, there's a couple things like going wrong, but like, I'm not scared of the Dallas Cowboys when you're getting penalties going your way. They had a freaking safety last night that was a clear safety, and we're like, oh well, the ball wasn't all the way over in. So I'm like, both his feet are in the end zone. How's that not a safety? There was another play in the game. It's clear taunting after one of the kickoffs, right? Yeah. Guys over top of him, throws him on the ground, steps over him just like Cooper DeJean did earlier in the season. Where's the flag for taunting? They don't get it for there, but go on social media talking about how the horrible calls that went against Dallas last night. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me with these guys. At this point in time, but when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, it comes to this time of year, guys, get your popcorn ready and just enjoy the show. Because that's what it is right now. It's a show. Jerry Jones don't care as long as they're being talked about, good, bad, or indifferent.
No, that's spot on. Oh, I guess it's your lightning round.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into this lightning round real quick, and this is a fun one that we like to ask other content creators as well as super fans. So for you, it'd be the greatest Eagle of all time.
I can't pick one. I can't. Like, I even do this with everyone too. Like the same thing. Like when we talk about it, how can we pick one? How can we? When we look at it, like a lot of our teams that's been in, and you're not the Dallas Cowboys, you haven't existed only since 1960, but you have teams like, the Eagles, the Giants, the Browns, a lot of these teams, we've been around since the early 1900s, 1930s. Yeah. So how we can sit there and pick one? Like, as we were just talking about that Black Friday game, we just had, Malcolm Jenkins go in the Ring of Honor, and Bronco Nowinski goes in, one of the nastiest, dirtiest linemen that have ever played the game. But there's so many different ways to look at it. So many great players that come through. Like obviously, Papali's on my wall. You have Chuck McNair who played both ways. The one my co-host always talks about, because he still feels Brian Dawkins' shoulder pad in his chin, because Brian Dawkins was He'd be the nicest, calmest, most well-mannered man you talk to any day you walk in the street. You step on in between those lines. Come Sunday, Monday games. He's Weapon X. I mean, the lineage that we have here with black quarterbacks in Philadelphia is another thing. Randall Cunningham, Rodney Peete, Michael Vick, Donovan McNabb. Now with Jalen Hurts. I mean, there's just so many different places you can go with it. Wide receivers, Terrell Owens, Deshaun Jackson. The greatest deep ball threat the league has ever seen. The numbers back it up. So it's like there's so many different ways you go to. I don't know if I can pick one. But I will pick one. Jason Kelce, man. He's the biggest underdog the city has ever seen. We almost ran him out of here the year before the Super Bowl. We did not want him back here. We were trying to find his replacement. He almost retired prior to the Super Bowl because he thought he didn't have it left. And then Jeff Stalin talked him out of it. He put it all together, and then went on one of the best runs that an offensive lineman has ever seen. How he embodied our city and is still kind of entrenched in not just the Eagles organization today, but what he gives back to the way that he interacts with all fans, not just us. Dude, when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, right? And he was going the year he retired, right? And he's sitting there in the box in Buffalo, throwing kids in there to go like you can't make this stuff up. Then that's who Jason is. But also, if you look at it, that's the Philadelphia fan on a daily basis. So it's hard to pick one, but like Jason's story is a great one, and the success that him and Travis are having on the podcast, the beer company, the commercials, the Christmas album here in Philadelphia. If you guys haven't had a chance to, please, sometimes this holiday season, pick that up and listen to what the Eagles offensive lineman did. You will be in for a treat because Jordan Mailata has the best voice I have ever heard from a player. I think when he's done playing football, he should actually probably sing because that guy's got some tones to him.
Yeah, that's always something to look forward to, is that Eagles Christmas album. But
they're not doing one this year. They've already been said they're not doing one this year.
Oh, darn.
But I think they are doing something to kind of raise money. I think there's going to be like some bobbleheads involved. I don't know.
That's awesome. So what we're going to do now to kind of pivot off of your greatest Eagle of all time and the current AFC West player that you'd want on your team, each one of us is going to pick a current Eagles player that we would want on our AFC West team. So, Matt, we'll go ahead and start with you and which Eagle you'd currently want.
I'm going to go with Saquon. And the reason I'm saying that is because, over the last few years, Denver's had their ups and downs at the running back position. We thought Javonte Williams was going to be the guy. He started getting inconsistent. Now looking, he's performing well in Dallas. So where the hell was this in Denver? But you had Dobbins. He can't stay healthy though with the foot injury. So I want someone that can stay healthy, that can put up big numbers, and is consistent. So I'm going to give me Saquon.
All right, other Denver guy.
Yeah, you brought up Nakobe Dean earlier, and he's actually on my short list of wants when the draft rolled around. And I mean, obviously, I would still say Saquon too, but for the sake of picking something different, I would go Nakobe Dean.
It might be an option for you after the season. His rookie contract is up.
Yeah,
that'd be great. I like Nakobe Dean. Chiefs have a lot of issues, and there's a lot of players on the Eagles that would solve quite a bit of their issues right now. But as a fan, the one thing that bothers me most is our terrible corners. So I think I'm going to have to go with Mitchell. I think if we had someone like Mitchell who could go outside, that kind of move would move McDuffie into the slot where he is better. So I think you kind of get a twofer with a corner like that.
So you don't want Slim Reaper? You wouldn't want Devontae Smith to really fill out that deep threat weapon with Patty Mahomes?
I'd rather have AJ Brown. I think we have a lot of like the deep threats, but we don't have that guy who can just get open now. That's our problem. Our dudes have to be schemed open. If we need a dude to just go out there and win one-on-one and just be a bigger man, we don't have that right now. Everything has to be schemed open. So I just want someone like AJ who it doesn't matter when it's on, when you need it, even if he's covered, he's open. And
listen, I'm not going to knock you on the Quinion pick either, because he's like, listen, tell me a cornerback that has had a bigger impact in their first 2 years of the season that's not named, Champ Bailey or Darrell Revis or something to that effect.
Matt Williams.
My guy. No, I just, after the Cowboys game and seeing how we couldn't even just stop slants, like at some point just give me a corner who's good enough to just figure that out. So
can't say I blame you, brother.
But I think we need to get it just out there. So I want you to describe the feeling of the Eagles taking belt to ass on the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Man, that was a fun night. I'm gonna say it like this: like
it was.
it was a fun night. Like, and part of me was like, thinking like, like when you're watching it, it was like, we really beating them 40-6. I thought this was gonna be a game, and the next thing, like, listen, it's just it became what it became. I knew that it wasn't gonna be, I knew it wasn't going to be a Chiefs victory. I just, being that close 2 years prior to basically losing it on a PI call like that on the last drive that you more or less would have won the game on. It left the bad feeling in everyone's hearts. And obviously 23 was 23. You completely fall off. But what they brought in, how they were playing, I think the biggest surprising about that night is that you took Saquon away, and then Jalen Hurts just literally slanged the ball all over the place on you guys, and it was a beautiful thing to watch, man. I don't think people realize this, that the Eagles have stopped three of the biggest dynasties in the Super Bowl era, right? We beat Vince Lombardi in '60, preventing them to having a three-peat. When the Super Bowl first started, right? You stop the quote unquote GOAT Tom Brady from three-peating, and you stop Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs from three-peating, and looks at this point in time, for all intents and purposes, utterly destroying that dynasty. I think that probably has to be the best feeling outside of winning that Super Bowl. Obviously, it's the second Super Bowl, but I'm also not one of these guys. I'm one of these guys that I don't think that we should only count Super Bowls. I have a problem with that. It's like when you see a lot going on in the regular world. We're trying to erase history for no reason. Like, I get it. It's, the AFC and NFC were two totally different separate entities, each separate leagues and stuff like that. I don't think you should discredit NFL championships just because it doesn't have the name Super Bowl under it. Like, I get utterly sick when I just hear Cowboys, well, you only got 2 Super Bowls. I'm like, we got 5 NFL championships. Thank you very much. And if you want to get technical, the Giants have more than you, so stop playing with us. So, I mean, I listen. I love going back and forth with Cowboy fans because they just give you free stuff all the time. I would hear nothing but jarring at them the last 2 weeks on my YouTube channel and on my TikTok and everything like that. But I haven't heard nothing the past 24 hours. It's weird.
Yeah, that's a shocker. So that was a nice.
They're cockroaches, man. The lights go on and they scatter.
That's a nice little segue. So we always, when we have people on, we like to give you the opportunity to plug your socials, let people know where they can find you and your content, especially for some Eagle fans or some fans who might want to get in on some Eagles content. So go ahead and plug your socials and let people know where they can find you.
It's real easy. You know, just type in my name there, Steve Rochelle. Facebook, Instagram should pop right up. It's Steve Sports Talk 1 on YouTube, on X, on TikTok. I'm on multiple days, different week. Monday nights at 6, I do J&S Philly Sports Stop with my fellow Eagles content creator Justin Ferrillo. Most Tuesday nights I'm on the South Florida Tribune on Inside the Pigskin. It's me, Scott, Katie Morganroth. We got 3 former NFL football players on there: Ben Troop, Marvin Powell III, Mel Farr Jr., and we also typically joined by another 30, 40 plus years in the media business. Scott Callahan's on with us. And then Wednesday mornings, I do the Fan in the End with myself, Ben Troop, and Marvin Powell joins me. And then every once in a while, I'll do when I get the combat sports interviews. Usually Sunday nights, I do a show called The Real and the Rare. You know, it doesn't matter if it's bare knuckle, UFC, MMA, boxing, whatever. Anyone we run into, it could be a manager, it could be a promoter, could be a referee or whatever. Like we talk about whatever on that show. We like to mix things up, and just like with the platform in South Florida Tribune, and like we touch on a little bit of everything. We're about to launch a new college football program with Ben and Marvin. We talk basketball, we talk baseball, we talk hockey. We touch on all the sports while we're on the South Florida Tribune. So guys, if you head over to the YouTube channel, you give us a like, subscribe, whatever. Check out one of the interviews. I've had interviews with Irvin Fryer, Ricky Waters, Luther Broughton. I just had on Mark Patterson. He was a former Raider who's on the Raider Walk of Fame as well, who's also a mountain climber. He's been to all 7 summits of the mountains around the world: Kilimanjaro, Everest, all that. Was actually just telling a story how Chris Long couldn't make it up to the top of Everest.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
so,
man, we like to talk a little bit of everything and keep it not like, obviously, I'm from Philadelphia. I'm always gonna have a heavy Philadelphia opinion upon things, but we talk a little bit of everything. I don't like to just, when I'm talking football, just talk Eagles or just Philadelphia sports. I like to mix things up and talk about everything. We have fun with whatever program we do it. We like to keep it factual based. We don't like to keep it, like, obviously we have a fan's perspective on it, but we like to keep everything as real as we can. We're not just piping things out, talking nonsense.
Yeah, and we want to thank you for giving us your time tonight. It was a blast. We had a lot of fun. So right now we're going to give our sponsors their shout outs. They're going to be Troy, Field Ops Kansas for your field markings, and then Angie and her team at Emporia State Federal Credit Union, Showbook's Banking of Choice, and now the War Room's Banking of Choice as well. And then Jeff, JBW Solutions, as we are in the JBW Solutions studio. Jeff, thank you for being one of our first sponsors and continuing to help us grow. Make sure you guys tune in Sunday morning for our pregame show. So from all of us here at the War Room, I want to thank Steve for joining us tonight, and we will see you guys Sunday morning.